The 1970s gave us some of television's most groundbreaking moments. All in the Family tackled racism head-on. MASH brought the brutal reality of war into our living rooms. Shows pushed boundaries like never before. But here's what most people don't realize. Some episodes pushed so hard they got completely erased from television history. Banned, buried, and in some cases destroyed entirely. These weren't just controversial moments. These were cultural earthquakes that made networks panic, advertisers flee, and entire episodes vanish overnight. From a beloved children's show that accidentally traumatized an entire generation, to a sitcom episode so offensive it nearly ended a career, these are the stories they don't want you to remember. Today, we're uncovering 10 TV episodes from the 1970s that were so shocking. They got banned, and you won't believe what made number 3 disappear forever. Number 10. The Bicycle Man, Different Strokes, 1978. The Bicycle Man tackled a subject no family sitcom had ever dared touch: child predators. The episode follows Arnold and Dudley as they're lured by a seemingly friendly bike shop owner who offers them beer, shows them adult magazines, and attempts to photograph them without clothes. Here's the ironic twist. Created to protect children, it was banned for potentially giving predators a playbook. Critics argued the show was too explicit in depicting grooming techniques. Parent groups demanded it be pulled from syndication, and for decades, it existed only in bootleg recordings. What makes this even more haunting is that several cast members from Different Strokes, including Gary Coleman and Dana Plato, later struggled with the very adult pressures the show tried to address. Sometimes the most well-intentioned episodes create the darkest legacies. Number 9, Soap, the pilot episode, 1977.
This is the story of two sisters.
ABC thought they were creating a groundbreaking parody of daytime television. What they created was a cultural firestorm. The pilot crammed adultery, homosexuality, organized crime, and religious satire into 30 minutes of primetime comedy. Before it even aired, religious groups launched coordinated attacks. The Christian Life Commission called it moral garbage. Over 32,000 protest letters flooded ABC. Several affiliates refused to air it entirely. Here's the cultural irony. Soap was actually ahead of its time in LGBTQ+ representation. Billy Crystal's character, Jody, was one of television's first openly gay main characters, portrayed with dignity, rather than as a punchline. Yet the groups protesting were fighting against what would later be recognized as progressive representation. Number 8. Maude's Dilemma. Maude, 1972. In November 1972, Maude Findlay did something no television character had ever done. She got an abortion and talked about it. On primetime television, during Sweeps Week. Here's the cultural bombshell. The episodes aired 2 months before Roe v. Wade was decided. Maude wasn't reflecting the national conversation about abortion. She was leading it. Norman Lear was using primetime television to argue for reproductive rights, before the Supreme Court had even ruled. The Catholic Church condemned it. Conservative groups organized boycotts. When scheduled for reruns, 39 stations pulled them entirely. These episodes became a cultural Rorschach test. Your opinion revealed your politics, your religion, and your vision of America's future. Number 7. The Dinner Party, The Jeffersons, 1975.
Mr. Davis, it's really my fault. You see, Archie thought I was going to say something about your aunt.
Idiot, please.
George Jefferson made increasingly racist comments about various ethnic groups, culminating in multiple racial slurs during a dinner party. Written as satire to expose prejudice, it backfired spectacularly. The cultural twist. It aired during the Black Power movement, when African American communities were grappling with how Black success should be portrayed on television. The episode was pulled after complaints from both white and Black viewers. but for different reasons. White audiences found the language offensive. Black critics argued it perpetuated harmful stereotypes. The irony? The Jeffersons was created to show black prosperity. George was TV's first black millionaire. This single episode threatened to undermine everything by reducing the groundbreaking character to a collection of prejudices. Before we dive into our top 5, we want to thank you for watching. If you're enjoying this journey through television's forbidden history, please hit that like button and subscribe. Your support truly helps us. Now, let's get to our top 5. Because if you thought those were shocking, wait until you see what made these disappear forever. Number 5, The Interview. MASH, 1976. Shot in black and white to mimic wartime documentaries, this episode featured graphic descriptions of battlefield medicine and Hawkeye delivering a monologue about how war turns doctors into killers with medical degrees. The danger wasn't what it said about Korea, it was what it said about Vietnam. By 1976, America was still reeling from Saigon's fall, and the episode drew explicit parallels that made military officials deeply uncomfortable. Several military bases banned it from being shown to servicemen. The Pentagon pressured CBS to remove it from syndication. The episode disappeared for nearly a decade, returning only when Vietnam's cultural wounds began to heal. Sometimes the most honest television is also the most dangerous. Number 4, Word Association, Saturday Night Live, 1975. Richard Pryor's hosting gig featured the most offensive racial language ever broadcast on network television. His sketch with Chevy Chase escalated until both were using the most vicious slurs imaginable. Here's the twist. Pryor wrote it himself as commentary on how quickly racial humor turns vicious. He was using TV's biggest stage to expose American racism. But audiences weren't ready for that confrontation. NBC received thousands of complaints and death threats. The episode was buried for 30 years, existing only in bootleg recordings. The irony is profound. Pryor was trying to kill racist humor by showing how ugly it really was. It got banned for being too effective. Number 3, The Wicked Witch. Sesame Street, 1976. Here's the shocker. It wasn't adult drama that created TV's most famous band. It was Sesame Street. Margaret Hamilton reprised her Wicked Witch role to teach children that scary-looking people might actually be nice. Within hours, PBS was flooded with calls from terrified parents. Children had nightmares, refused to watch television. Some were afraid to go outside. PBS pulled it after one airing and destroyed most copies. The ban revealed something profound. Context matters more than content. The same witch acceptable in Oz became terrifying in children's safe space. The educational show that taught letters and numbers. Margaret Hamilton was devastated. This single appearance effectively ended her career in children's entertainment. Sometimes the most innocent intentions create the most lasting damage. Number 2, Hash. Barney Miller, 1975. Detectives accidentally get high when confiscated marijuana catches fire in the station. 30 minutes of police officers acting stoned and treating drug use as harmless comedy. For 1975 audiences during the war on drugs, this was dangerous. Police departments condemned it. The DEA pressured ABC. Hal Linden received death threats from viewers who felt he'd betrayed law enforcement. The cultural irony? By today's standards, it seems quaint. Officers don't actively use drugs. They're accidentally exposed. Yet this mild portrayal was considered a threat to public safety. The ban established an unofficial rule. Police characters could never be shown using drugs, even accidentally. Number 1, The Dinner Party. The Mary Tyler Moore Show, 1975.
Okay. Do you want me to get that? Oh, would you? Sure. Hello?
Taking our top spot is perhaps the most surprising band of all. Mary hosts a dinner party that goes wrong when guests get food poisoning. The episode showed the aftermath in graphic detail. Characters running to bathrooms, retching sounds, and discussing bodily functions with unprecedented frankness. The cultural context? This was 1975, when TV operated under strict standards. Bathroom humor existed, but was always implied, never explicit. Mary Tyler Moore broke that barrier with a sledgehammer. CBS received hundreds of complaints. The episode was inspired by a real writer's dinner party disaster. They thought they were creating relatable comedy. Instead, they created TV's first graphic depiction of mass illness. What makes this culturally significant? It revealed the limits of even sophisticated comedy. The show had tackled divorce, career women, and social issues with grace. But when it came to bodily functions, audiences drew a hard line. Sometimes the most mundane subjects create the most lasting taboos. 10 television episodes so shocking, they vanished entirely. From children's shows that traumatized generations to sophisticated comedies that got too graphic, these episodes didn't just push boundaries, they obliterated them. What's fascinating is how these bands reveal the cultural anxieties of their time. The 1970s were a decade of massive social change, and television was caught between old values and new realities. Many of these dangerous episodes were actually trying to make the world better, tackling child safety, reproductive rights, and racial prejudice with remarkable boldness. The real tragedy isn't that they were banned, it's that their absence made us forget how brave early television could be. In our focus grouped era, these episodes remind us that television once dared to change minds and challenge assumptions. Which band episodes surprised you most? Do you think any would still be controversial today? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into television's forbidden history, hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories. Because sometimes, the most important episodes are the ones they tried to erase. And sometimes, the most dangerous television is also the most necessary. Thanks for joining us on this episode. We'll see you on the next one.